Okay, here we are. This is our learning management system, and I'm seeing here my super admin screen, and specifically this is the error log module that we built around our platform. And our platform is based on Next.js, Convex, and OpenRouter. So at some point, I had to face the decision of integrating with something like Sentry, or trying to rebuild inside of our platform the features of error logging or monitoring errors that happen to our users. So I went to this path, and it's been very valuable. So basically the idea was to intercept the console log errors that happen on our clients, and then pass them over somewhere. So starting point was passing that directly to Slack, but the problem is we couldn't manage then just by posting in Slack. How do we solve that error in specific, and what can we do about that? So one of the next steps was, okay, if I get an error log, how do I try to interpret that error in the first pass with an LLM model? And this is precisely what I started implementing here. So the idea is that you first have Gemini Flash catching the error and trying to provide a human-friendly description of the error that can help the user and also the manager of the system. So now let me try to simulate an error here. Can you introduce an error here to test Sentinel? And I'm going to pass this route, and let's see if it can produce an error, have it reload, and then logging here, and we can see then the process. Now what happens is that I have here Sentinel running on my local CLI, and my idea was I don't want to spend tokens on an external platform. We could do that, but it's not the best, and I prefer to have here a Ralph Wiggum loop running, polling errors every 30 seconds. And once we have that running, then communicate through Convex. We're reporting to Convex, so we can read here Convex as well. We have the access, the credentials, and this Sentinel lives in our source code, so it can just go straight and look into the source code and see what is happening with that, and reporting back to Convex so that we can paint the outcomes over here. So it says there's a fire test error button on admin errors next to clear. Okay, that's cool. And if I click fire test error, then Convex reports is reporting that right away. It's saying Sentinel test error simulated null reference in admin dashboard. Okay, that's super cool. And now we see that over here the log is started. And then there's this AI interpretation. This was Gemini Flash saying this error is simulated null reference. Okay, it's going safe here. This is the technical log, and this is the interpretation. And now we have this as an open error, and it's standing in the queue. Now, you see here Sentinel just claimed the job for this, and I can imagine we can have multiple Sentinels running, so they can coordinate. And this is the first one that saw the error and it's picking it up. And now you see it's diagnosing, and it's resolved. How did that happen? Let's see. Sentinel diagnosed this is a deliberate error injected to verify Sentinel error monitoring pipeline. So it's explaining to us the diagnosis. And Sentinel determined this error has been fixed. So it's auto-resolved, and we don't need to do anything else. And then Claude said this on the inner Ralph Wiggum loop. Sentinel test error diagnosed and reported. This was a delivered test error. To validate the pipeline, no fix needed. Okay, that was interesting. Can Can we try an error that needs some fixing? Let's see. Can we try a little bit more complex error that tests the levels of, let's say, of auto fixing? Because auto fix errors are errors that are ranked as simple errors that can be can go through the loop, and there's not, you know, there's not a high risk on breaking stuff. So let's try to do an error. Requires a dev to come and fix, or some level of decision authority. Okay, let's give it a try to this. Probably it's going to use the same bottom fire test error, just to make sure the Sentinel is reusing that, and say it's good idea. Okay, there we go with the sycophancy. Let's introduce a real bug in actual application code, something that will cause I see the real bug opportunity line 30 subscription to lowercase will crash if the description is undefined. Let's check what the type looks like. Okay, it's going to be asking me to go somewhere else to trigger the error. We will do that. It is a real bug. It says it's a real bug. Okay, edit course. Go to any orgs courses page and type something in the search box. Okay, any orgs course page. So let's go here, starting on the dashboard, and then let me just go to our test platform, and this is the course page. Type something in the search box. It's courses page, search box, test. I don't think anything was triggered. Can you provide the route? Is it here? That's puzzling. I don't know how it knew that there was a box somewhere there. So go to that, type anything in the search box. Well, no, I don't see anything that's triggering an error. If I go to error logs, no errors. No errors. Try again to introduce an error for testing. Why don't we try? I don't like to be navigating to trigger errors. Again, here with the filters. That would be better if I just, do something over here, filter the error table, and then trigger the test error, so we can see something kind of more interesting happening. Okay, now I will introduce a bug in the error pages. Sure. And the bug is Sentinel filter checks accesses nested property. Okay. You go here. Make sure there's at least one error. There is an error there. Then change the Sentinel status to an value like diagnosing or fix available. Status unresolved. Diagnosing. There it is. So the user is seeing this, and then it gets the Description. There was a problem loading the error logs page for the administrators. Please try refreshing the page. If the problem persists, contact the Kitsune support team. Fantastic. And then I can see also the error source with all of these things that are always very positive to see. And let me just reload here. We have now this new error. React error boundary cannot read properties of undefined. And it's open. It's being claimed by the Sentinel. And we'll see here changing to diagnosing. And should be pretty easy to map. I'm not sure if this is going to be triggering a level of error that requires dev coming and fixing, but we'll see. So running diagnosis. I can also open up this box and I'll see the interpretation that the user just got on their screen. It's always horrible to see those models, but at least not that horrible as seeing a whole dump of whatever a heap or stuff is happening on the system. Here it gets more technical. You get the technical, and yeah, this is really interesting. Now I see the diagnosis, and there's add null check for Sentinel job, and that has a risk of 1 to 10, and it's asking for approval. So as the risk was low, it was auto approved. So you see, I had to do nothing. If it was 3 or above, then I would definitely have here a button saying, okay, I need to check if we want to fix this, and I can approve the fix, or I can come back here and work with Cloud Code in solving this error and just deleting this from our Sentinel. So now I see here also extra information of what's the change that it was correcting. So you see it's removing this filter and putting here a guard saying if there's no job, return false, so that it doesn't hit the job status problem undefined. And yeah, it's fixed, I think. Let's see, it's resolved here already. Oh, we missed that. Maybe we'll check the video later on. So this is the way an error was auto-fixed in the source. Now, of course, there's another block here missing that is pushing this over to production. Right now, this is all running on my local, and then it hits errors and then fixes them whenever it can be fixed. In the case of a system that is running live, then this goes and accumulates on a potential pull request, and then someone comes and looks at the pull request, see there's this and that, solve errors or bugs, and then approves that, pushes that over to the repository, and then it gets deployed to the live server. But you get more or less the concept. Now, I guess over here I have already my stakeholders infographic. So for those that are not that much technical, we have a technical diagram with colors here. I think it's easy to understand maybe. And it's Sentinel, the automated bug healing pipeline. So there's a production environment. We hit on errors. We bring them into this dual engine. So there's a first part that runs online. It hits on our open router and consumes tickets, but are not that expensive, Gemini Flash, and generates user-friendly explanations. So it's one layer, and then the second layer is the one running online. It's overloading our Cloud Code license, but not in a way that invalidates our license within the terms of service, which means there's a person behind this. We don't fully automate it, so we run the Sentinel with someone's machine is running that, and then I get to see how all of these bug jobs are claimed by the Sentinel, and get to supervise the process. And of course, we can pass it over also to Open Router, and look for another model that can get into the loop. But the problem is that we're not running on the local repository, therefore we don't have access to the source code directly. And here we can intervene in the source code directly because we are inside of the source code directly, right there. So diagnosis and approval means then we get a score of the risk of the bug and then decide if we want to auto approve and apply fixes, or we'll need someone to come and have a look at this. So there's a level that if exceeded, then a human needs to come to approve, and then there's also a couple of guardrails. So you see there, if there's a rate limiter, if an error is shooting or triggering very often or in many platforms at the same time, we don't push that repeated times. And then there's a self-healing process. So when we apply the fix, we check if the application is okay, and if not, then we stay away of the app, bring someone else to review that. And yeah, here describing that once we have the fixes, then it's pushed through a pull request or direct commits over to the source code, which is not implemented. We're not doing direct commits or direct pushes to the source. But anyway, you get the concept there. Yep, so hope you find this amazingly interesting, as I have found building the system. And this allowed us to say goodbye to Sentry. We've been absolutely thrilled and happy with the service at some point. And then what's happening in software as a service is that some of us are SaaS hunters, so we like to see how can we replace stuff. There are integrations that are hard to replace. I don't think I'm going to be replacing Stripe very soon, or Slack maybe in a month perhaps. Brevo as an email platform is not going to be replaced, and Open Router is very flexible as well, very convenient for us. So I'm managing here our platform integrations, but always checking for opportunities to replace some of the parts that are in motion within our system. So yeah, super, thank you.